It was a crisp Saturday morning when Emily woke up, excitement bubbling inside her. Today wasn't just any day, it was Claire's birthday, and Emily had spent weeks planning the perfect surprise brunch. She'd chosen the little cafe Claire adored, the one with the sun-drenched windows and the mismatched chairs. She'd pre-ordered her favorite pastries, the ones with the flaky crust and the sweet almond filling, and had even managed to get a small, vibrant bouquet of wildflowers from the florist down the street. In her mind, everything was perfect, a meticulously crafted scene of affection for her best friend. Claire arrived right on time, wrapped in a cozy scarf that matched the soft smile on her face. She was completely unaware of what Emily had planned, and that secrecy made Emily's heart race with anticipation. As Claire approached, Emily stood up, the bouquet of wildflowers held out like an offering. "Happy birthday," she exclaimed, her voice filled with more emotion than she intended. Claire's eyes lit up, a genuine, beautiful surprise that made Emily's chest tighten. She leaned in for a quick hug, a familiar gesture that suddenly felt different. The warmth of their brief embrace lingered, filling the air with a quiet, unspoken tension that had been building between them for months, maybe even years. It was a feeling neither of them had ever dared to name. They settled into their seats, and soon, laughter flowed as easily as the coffee. The conversation was effortless, a comfortable rhythm built over years of friendship. They reminisced about old memories, the disastrous road trip they took in college, the time they tried to bake a cake and nearly set the kitchen on fire. They teased each other about minor embarrassments, their inside jokes a language only they understood. Between the stories, there were moments of comfortable silence, the kind that only the closest of friends can truly enjoy. The cafe was bustling with the morning rush, a symphony of clinking cups and quiet chatter, but in their little corner, it felt as if the world had slowed down, spinning just for them. And then, disaster struck. In the middle of a story, Claire reached for her coffee, her hand moving a little too quickly. The cup wobbled, tilted, and then spilled, sending a wave of hot liquid across the pristine white table, and directly onto Emily's hand. "Oh my God. I'm so sorry." Claire gasped, her eyes wide with alarm. She grabbed a handful of napkins and frantically began dabbing at the mess, her movements flustered and apologetic. Emily, despite the stinging heat on her skin, couldn't help but laugh. It was just them. Always a little bit of chaos mixed in with the calm. "It's okay. Really, it's fine," she reassured her, brushing her damp hand against her jeans. But her heart was thumping, a frantic drumbeat against her ribs, not just from the shock, but from the sudden, intense closeness. Claire's eyes, wide with guilt and a deep, genuine concern, held Emily's gaze for a moment longer than necessary. And in that charged stillness, something shifted. It was almost tangible, like a change in the air pressure just before a storm. The familiar, comfortable boundaries of their friendship seemed to blur and dissolve, replaced by an unexpected, electrifying spark that neither of them had ever dared to acknowledge before. Emily found herself noticing the small things she'd always subconsciously loved about Claire, the soft apologetic curve of her lips, the way a stray strand of hair fell across her face, the gentle warmth in her touch as she continued to fuss over the spill. "Maybe you should let me help," Claire whispered, her voice barely audible over the cafe's din. She moved closer, her chair scraping softly against the floor, and gently took Emily's hand to dab at the lingering coffee stain with a fresh napkin. Their fingers brushed, a light, almost accidental touch that lingered for a heartbeat too long. Emily's pulse quickened, a warmth spreading from her hand all the way up her arm. Every shared laugh, every late-night talk, every unspoken moment of connection had been leading them here, to this fragile, electrifying instant. It was as if the universe had conspired to create this perfect, messy, and deeply intimate moment, just for them. A magnetic pull, undeniable and overwhelming, drew Emily in. She leaned forward slightly, a silent question in her eyes. Claire, catching the movement, didn't pull away. She didn't flinch. Instead, she mirrored the motion, closing the small distance between them. Their lips met in a tender, hesitant kiss. It started softly, a gentle exploration, as if they were both testing the waters of this new, uncharted territory. But the initial hesitation quickly gave way to something deeper, something more certain. The kiss carried the weight of years of hidden feelings, of unspoken affection and quiet longing. Their hands found each other, fingers entwining naturally, their hearts racing in perfect sync. Time seemed to warp and stretch. The world around them, the laughter from the next table, the clatter of dishes from the kitchen, the sunlight streaming through the window, all faded into a distant, muffled echo. In that moment, all that mattered was the warmth of Claire's lips, the steadying grip of her hand, and the undeniable truth that had always lingered just beneath the surface of their friendship: they were in love. Pulling back slightly, just enough to breathe, Emily rested her forehead against Claire's. They were both breathing heavily, a mix of shock and exhilaration coursing through them. "I guess we crossed a line," Emily murmured, her voice a shaky blend of awe and nervous excitement. Claire smiled, a soft, radiant smile that reached her eyes, and a delicate blush crept across her cheeks. Maybe, she admitted, her own voice soft but certain, grounded in a new reality. But it feels right, doesn't it? Emily nodded, a feeling of pure, unadulterated happiness swelling in her chest, so powerful it felt like it might lift her off her feet. It feels more than right, she whispered back, her gaze locked with Claire's. In that moment, amidst the chaos of spilled coffee and a birthday surprise gone slightly awry, their lifelong friendship transformed into something infinitely deeper, something more profound. It was a change neither of them could, or wanted to, ignore ever again. From that day forward, birthdays, spills, and little accidents were no longer just everyday occurrences. They became cherished memories, precious signposts on their journey together. They were the small, imperfect moments that reminded them of the day they finally crossed the line, the day they stopped being just best friends and discovered a love that was waiting for them all along, hidden in the most unexpected way. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this story with me. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. See you next time.